Hey, welcome back, everybody. Of course, you know me. My name is Dr. Keith McNally. This is Coach's Corner. I'm here with Jean Ramsey, and if you've watched any of my shows before, you know that she was on the Envision Speaker Series with her colleagues. But she's here now to talk about what she does professionally. She is an education coach, and we need to find out what that means and what that means for her. Jean, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Keith. It's a great privilege. Thank you.
You are very welcome. So first, you got to tell us, what does it mean for you to be an education coach? What are you coaching people on?
I think coaching works in every sphere. So I like to promote the idea of the coaching way of being in the classroom, with your colleagues, at home, and it's win-win for everybody if you can adopt that coaching way of being. And all it is that positive regard, unconditional positive regard with the people that you're working with, and trying not to be judgmental. And that includes everybody, the young people in your care and your colleagues. And when you can adopt that coaching way of being, you can be much more relaxed in the classroom. You can model how to self-regulate. If you're feeling that you're being triggered, you can say that. And you can say, I am, just give me a minute. I'm just going to do some breathing, and then I'm going to come back to you in a much more constructive frame of mind. And especially now with the effects of the pandemic, young people really need to see that being modeled. Grown-ups using self-regulation. And that's what I would love to see in every classroom. And getting us away from this awful, you're either touchy-feely or you're hang 'em and flog 'em. No, there is a middle way where you can enjoy each other's company. Oh, and my favorite F word is fun. What's happened to fun? No wonder young people don't want to come to school because it's
Well,
so
let,
deadly
well, let me
boring.
let me ask you some questions here because I know you're excited to be here. The coaching way of being is founded on what principles? So, what are we talking about? You talked about self-regulation, but what are we really
Yeah.
talking about the coaching way of being?
We're talking about holding the space for young people and believing that no matter what, they have the ability to be or do whatever they want. But you have to hold that belief for them because sometimes they can't see that for themselves at all. And it's that unconditional positive regard. And there are so many great people proposing it, like Dr. Christian Neuberger in Coaching and Education, Dr. Jim Knight in America with instructional coaching. But these things get twisted sometimes. People bring their own agenda and it's not pure anymore. And that's what gives coaching a bad name sometimes, I think.
I would tend to agree, but you understand that coaching is really about empowering people to be their best. And so, how does that come across in the coaching way of being model? How do we really empower people to be their best?
Well, I like to use the STRIDE model by Will Thomas.
Okay.
And that's, you start off, S stands for strength, T, target, R, reality, I, ideas, D, decide, and E, evaluate. That's why I like this model so much. I prefer it to Grow and other models because you start with the strength. So you begin your conversation with the young people. So what's been going well for you? Where have you been feeling proud of yourself? And it doesn't have to be in school. And it's really nice to see them sit up a little bit straight when they realize it doesn't have to be in school. It can be anywhere. We can build on people's strengths. That's what coaching is about, building on people's strengths and helping them to be even better. So then they might have a target that they want to work towards, but you can come to that. You don't have to, go in this linear progression. R is interesting. Tell me what your life is like now. Give me a snapshot of how life is going for you now. And then you can ask, so how can we get you from where you are now to where you'd rather be, which is the target. And then you generate ideas and you keep going. You say, give me 5 more, give me 5 more ideas. And the more you can encourage them to dig deeper, they come out with really zany ideas and think, oh yeah, I'd like to do that. And then you decide which of these ideas you're going to go with. And then the E for the evaluation, on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to taking that action? And if it's less than a 7, they ain't going to do it. So you want 7 and above. And then when you see the young person again, you can ask them, so how did it go? But you always start with S for strengths, start with what's going well and get them into a positive frame of mind.
Well, Jean, that begs the question, and what are your strengths as a coach?
I think my ability to build rapport really quickly. And I've discovered over the years that I have tremendous rapport with neurodivergent young people, because at the age of 70, I have diagnosed myself as having ADHD. And oh my God, that has answered so many questions, like being late for appointments, messing up my A-levels because I spent longer on devising the exam revision program than I actually spent in revising itself. Because revising is kind of boring, but making a nice flow chart is good.
So you build connections and rapport with people really well then.
Yes, I would say that's my. Oh, and I do like to have a laugh. So
Well,
with my
you
friends.
mentioned earlier in the call, maybe even before the call, that you think the F word, fun, is no longer a part of our educational system. Can you talk to us about that and how you've seen the absence of fun really negatively impact learning?
Okay. I volunteered with Oxford University and I agreed to tutor some needy children in primary school. So I thought it would behove me to get to grips with the primary school curriculum. Oh my God. The English curriculum is all about transactional stuff. They've changed all the vocabulary. What the hell is a fronted adverbial? Actually, it just means suddenly. Why have we changed all the grammatical terminology? And because it's so transactional and there's so little use of creativity, young people don't enjoy the experience of coming into school because everybody's so driven. We've got all these targets to meet. Well, let's slim down the curriculum. Let's not be so broad. Let's be a bit narrower and go a bit deeper. And what about projects? That's what we used to do before. Over here, we have the national curriculum. I'm old enough to remember teaching before that, where you could go with what your interests were. And we used to base it around the class reader. So all the sentence structure could come from the class reader, vocabulary could come from the class reader. And lessons have become so prescriptive. There is an organization here called the Oak, I think they're called the Oak Academy, and they did off the peg lessons during COVID. Well, a lot of schools bought into these and the young people hate them because they're so prescriptive. They often give them to supply teachers because it's an easy fix. So that's lose-lose. You're a supply teacher, so you don't have a good rapport with the class, and they've given you some off-the-peg lessons that the young people really don't like. Where's the teacher's autonomy? Where's the teacher's creativity? Where's the teacher's strengths being played to?
Well, then
Nowhere.
let's talk about that a little bit. You have some ideas as to what an ideal education system looks like. Can you share that with us?
We have to incorporate the so-called soft skills. We've got to get back to creativity. I mean, Ken Robinson's wonderful, I think it was a TED talk on how we're killing creativity. Oh my goodness, he is so right. That's the spark. That's what gets people out of bed in the morning, to go and share their ideas with the young people in their care and to go on that learning journey together, not to be the sage on the stage, but you know, the guide by the side, and be guided by the young people. In some primary schools, the young people design the curriculum. How amazing.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And guess what? They like
What?
coming to school.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess, finding a way to get kids to want to go to school and
Yeah.
then want to learn, I guess is
Well,
should be part of the solution.
of course, I used to share with the young people that our wonderful, malleable brains are designed to learn all the time. It's not a stupid thing to say that every day is a learning day. I love the idea of learning for learning's sake. I'm not sure that that's what's being promulgated in our education system at the moment, sadly.
For our audience sake, give us an idea of where you are geographically. I know I'm here in Virginia, that's the United States. Where are
Mhm.
you? And your accent does kind of give us some hints, but where are you?
Yeah, don't be fooled by the accent. I'm a Scot, but I live in Oxfordshire in England, right in the middle of the country, as far away from the seaside as possible to be.
So
But
how
I'm a
long have you
born in
been
Scotland.
in the educational system there?
Oh, I started teaching in 1977. So I've been at the chalk face for a hell of a long time.
And you've
And I
seen a
don't
lot
want to give up.
of and you've seen a lot of changes, and so those changes have not been good. And so with all of that, you have this idea. Are you trying in any way to implement your ideas of an ideal or better school system, a better education
Of
system?
course I am. I try
Tell
to connect with people all over the country, all over the globe, in fact. There's a wonderful young man called Sam Moynett. Of course, people like Jane Bell. We're all, in our small way, we are trying to make big changes. But we are up against, we're up, I'm going to say we're up against some quite dark forces.
Hmm.
People who have a different point of view, they get cancelled, you know. If you don't toe the party line, we can't really listen to you. And
Hmm.
I think that's tragic. That makes echo chambers.
So you mentioned Sam and Jane, and I think
Mhm.
Jane Bell has been on my show as well. Not
Mm.
quite sure about Sam. How is your work with these other professionals really impacting the education system?
Well, we we're trying to start a grassroots thing from the bottom up. We can't wait for the politicians to do it. We
Right,
can't.
right.
And let's empower parents. Let's empower the young people. Nobody ever asks them what they want.
Hmm,
They're the consumers and
hmm.
they're voters of the future.
I think you're right. I think we need to restructure the education system, probably not just in the UK and where you are, but really
Mm.
globally, because we struggle here in America too as well. With the amount of time that we have left, I know that you have some insights into empowering our audience and maybe specifically the teachers who face the day-to-day struggle
Mhm.
with their classroom because then not only do they have to be a model for the kids and as you said, not the sage on the stage, I think I heard
Mm.
you correctly,
Yeah,
but the guide
yeah.
on the side, because we're
Mhm.
going to take our kids through an education journey, but they have to balance that with their administrative responsibilities or at least the
Mm.
responsibilities placed on them. So leave our audience with something insightful, please, so that they can
Okay.
learn and use as a result of this conversation.
I think you have to start with yourself and you have to have a handle on your emotions
Mm.
because that's a crucial component of creating a psychologically safe environment. And I love this quote from Dr. Chaim Ginot. I hope that's how to pronounce it. Ginott. And he's a teacher. And he says, I've come to the frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element in the classroom. It's my personal approach that creates the climate, and it's my daily mood that makes the weather. And that just is such a wonderful thing to hold on to. We set the mood in our classrooms. We can make it fun. We can be personable. We can be approachable.
I
And it's
like that.
win for everybody
It,
then.
It sounds like a win-win situation. Gene, thank you so much for joining me in conversation. For those of you who are watching and listening, please connect with Gene Ramsey. Where's the best place to reach you? On LinkedIn, or are you anywhere else?
I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, but LinkedIn is where I hang out the most.
Okay, then we're going to connect with you on LinkedIn. For those of you who are watching and listening, I'll see you next time. Take care.